Falcons fans. This one hurts. This wasn't just a loss, it was a collapse. A game the Atlanta Falcons should have walked away with, ripped right out of their hands because of one brutal truth. The team beat itself. The energy was there, the fight was there, but the leadership on the sideline? That's where it all fell apart. What an absolutely crushing defeat for the Atlanta Falcons. This game was right there for the taking, and yet, somehow, the Dirty Birds let it slip away. The players gave their all, but the decisions on the headset left fans pulling their hair out. Let's be real here. This loss falls squarely on offensive coordinator Zach Robinson. His play calling was so painfully predictable, it felt like the entire stadium knew what was coming. You knew. I knew. Heck, even the Buccaneers' defense was practically sitting on the routes before the snap. Time after time, Robinson dialed up the same stale pistol looks, and time after time the Falcons got stuffed on the biggest downs of the night. And that's the most frustrating part. The defense actually gave Atlanta a chance. Yes, there were a few situational mistakes, but overall, the defense fought hard. They bent, but they didn't break. This loss didn't come from missed tackles or blown coverages. It came from an offense that was stuck in neutral. But let's talk about the bright spot. Pennix Jr. Don't even try to pin this loss on him, because this rookie played with fire in his veins. The kid looked fearless. On one crucial 4th and 1, with the play breaking down around him, he rolled out right, dove forward, and somehow willed his way to the sticks. Just 3 plays later, after yet another questionable call from Robinson, Penix took matters into his own hands again, scrambling, fighting, and throwing himself into the end zone to put Atlanta ahead. This wasn't just a performance, it was a statement. Penix showed poise, toughness, and the heart of a leader. Sure, he made some rookie mistakes, an overthrow here, a rushed read there. But let's put it in perspective. In his very first game as the full-time starter, the kid threw the ball 42 times, completed 27 passes, racked up 298 yards, and scored 2 touchdowns. If I told any Falcons fan before kickoff that's what we'd get, every single one would have said, "Sign me up." For me, Penix earned a solid B+. I can't give him an A, because at the end of the day the Falcons lost. But this young quarterback showed us something special. He showed us that he can be the guy, even when the play calling sets him up to fail. And that's what stings the most. The Falcons didn't lose because of lack of talent. They lost because of bad decisions from the top. Falcons fans, I need to hear from you. Who do you blame for this loss? Was it Zach Robinson's play calling, or do you think it runs deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments and rate your confidence in this team after Week 1 from 1 to 10. If we're talking about who else deserves some of the blame, let's be honest, Zach Robinson's fingerprints are all over this too. But this isn't just about play calling. The offensive line and the run game were absolutely invisible. Think about this. Bijan Robinson, one of the most electric young talents in the league, was a complete non-factor on the ground. That's not on him. That's on the system around him. 2 yards per carry? That's embarrassing. You're telling me that with his vision, his burst, and his playmaking ability, all Atlanta could get out of him was a cloud of dust? No chance. This was stale play design and an O-line that looked like it was on skates. And here's the crazy part. In the passing game, Bijan was a completely different player. 6 catches, 100 receiving yards, and a touchdown. He turned short throws into highlight plays and gave the Falcons life when nothing else was working. That tells you everything you need to know. The problem wasn't Bijan. The problem was the coaches who kept forcing him into obvious, predictable runs the Buccaneers were waiting for every single time. Now let's move to Kyle Pitts. For most of the night, he was quiet, too quiet. But in the 4th quarter, he woke up and finally made some plays. Credit where it's due, he came alive late and helped the Falcons push. Still, there's one play that sticks out like a sore thumb, that critical 4th down. The Falcons didn't convert, and Pitts? He didn't even try to block. Not 1 ounce of effort. And look, if you're not going to put in the work as a blocker, then you better dominate as a receiver. Pitts showed flashes, but 7 catches for 59 yards isn't enough when your team is desperate. The Falcons need more than just a late spark from him. They need him engaged from the very first snap. And finally, Drake London. He did a good job creating space underneath, working the short and intermediate routes. You can see his chemistry with Pennix building. But here's the glaring issue. The deep ball wasn't there. Penix still struggles to connect downfield, and London wasn't able to change that. The short game? Solid. The long game? Still missing. And to make matters worse, London is now listed as day-to-day with an injury. That's a gut punch for this offense, because he's the safety blanket Penix needs in big moments. The bottom line? The Falcons have weapons. But if they're being used in predictable ways and the O-line can't hold up, then you're asking your young quarterback to carry the team by himself. That's not a winning formula. Falcons fans, be real with me. Are you more frustrated with Zach Robinson's play calling, the offensive line, or the lack of effort from certain stars? Who do you think needs to step up most next week? Drop your answers in the comments. I want to hear it straight from you. And now, as if losing wasn't enough, the injuries just keep stacking up for Atlanta. This team is already fighting uphill, and every week it feels like another key player is limping off the field. But before I circle back to one very important name at the end of this video, let's shift our focus to the defense, because they deserve credit for how they fought today. Look, it wasn't perfect. There were moments that left you shaking your head, especially that final drive when Baker Mayfield hit rookie Emeka Egbuka on a deep post. That kind of busted coverage simply cannot happen in crunch time. That one play summed up the difference between winning and losing. But outside of those breakdowns, this Falcons defense showed heart. They showed toughness. And one guy in particular played like a man possessed. Divine Deablo. He was everywhere. You saw him blowing up runs at the line, dropping into coverage, patrolling the middle like a general. He looked like the leader this defense desperately needed, and honestly, he outshined Caden Ellis, who had his ups and downs. Deablo wasn't just good, he was the best Falcons defender on the field in Week 1. A.J. Terrell had himself a roller coaster day. He broke up passes, nearly grabbed a pick, and played tough in spots. But the Falcons as a team dropped 3 potential interceptions. 3. In a game decided by just a handful of plays, that's the kind of thing that kills you. And against a guy like Mike Evans, Terrell just couldn't always match the size and strength. Evans outmuscled him a couple of times, especially in man coverage. Still, outside of those few moments, Terrell gave this defense stability on the outside. He just needs to turn those almost plays into game-changing turnovers. And then there's the rookie, Billy Bowman. Talk about making a first impression. In his very first NFL game, he played with no fear. A sack, 3 solo tackles, flying all over the field, dropping into coverage, stepping up in the box, even flashing on a corner blitz. You could see the versatility, the confidence, the energy. He didn't just look like he belonged, he looked like he could be a real weapon in this defense moving forward. So yes, the Falcons' defense wasn't flawless. They had their mistakes, especially late. But they also had warriors step up and make their presence felt. And that's something to build on in a season that already feels like it's testing this team's depth and resilience. Falcons fans, I've got to ask, who impressed you most on defense today? Was it Deablo flying all over, A.J. Terrell battling against Evans, or the rookie Bowman making plays right out the gate? Drop your pick in the comments. I want to see who you think was the defensive MVP of Week 1. If there's one silver lining in this painful loss, it's that the Falcons might have found something special in Billy Bowman. The rookie didn't just show up, he showed out. His ability to drop into coverage, step into the box, blitz off the edge, and still play disciplined football at nickel corner tells you everything you need to know. This kid has playmaker written all over him, and if today was any preview, He could become one of the Falcons' most important young defenders moving forward. But as high as that moment felt, the ending of this game was just as crushing. Pennix Jr. did everything you could ask of a rookie quarterback. He marched Atlanta down the field, gave them a chance, and put the ball in position to tie it. And then, disaster. Younghoe, the one-man Falcons fans have trusted for years to come through in the clutch. The one guy you expect to be automatic, missed. The kick to tie the game sailed wide, and with it, Atlanta's hopes of stealing back a win. This isn't just about one kick either. The warning signs were there. His first field goal? Clean. The second? It clanged off the upright and barely snuck through. And this final one? A miss when the game was on the line. You cannot survive in the NFL with that kind of inconsistency. Let's be real, the leash is short. The front office knows it. The fans know it. And the guy waiting on the practice squad, Lenny, knows it too. He's got a powerful leg, and we all saw flashes of it in preseason. If Koo doesn't get it together immediately, his job could be gone in a matter of weeks. That's just the reality. It's heartbreaking because Koo has been a fan favorite, a steady hand for years. But in this league, loyalty doesn't win games, performance does. And right now, Koo's carryover struggles from last season are bleeding into 2025. If he can't flip the switch fast, the Falcons may be forced to move on. Falcons fans, this is the tough question. Do you still trust Younghoe to be the kicker of this team, or is it time to give Lenny a real shot? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell me, do you believe in Koo, or is his time in Atlanta running out?